Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Not by anything in particular, but just life. The journey of life can be daunting between working to pay the bills, growing your relationships to keep your family afloat. And then, where does that leave time for yourself and your personal health? Welcome to the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast, where we are all about juggling and managing all of your responsibilities to be by your side in growing through it all. This brand is here to help you achieve your goals. Whether they are personal and emotional goals you set for yourself, business goals you want to hit in your career, or physical and nutritional goals you want to accomplish to be a healthier version of yourself. Whatever your goals are, stay tuned for tips and tricks to make accomplishing them easier for you. Each episode will help you significantly improve in one aspect of your life or another.
Hey Facebook family, it's me, Caitlin, with the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. And I am so thrilled today because I have a guest speaker. Her name is Hannah, and she and I have not spoken really since we met in college. But whenever I tell you that she and I were just drawn to each other from the moment we met to now, even though we don't speak often or much, she's always in my prayers, I'm always in her prayers, and we just have so much in common. But I also look at Hannah as an amazing example of a woman of God, somebody who navigates life so well, even though life throws many curveballs to her and to all of us. So that's what she and I are going to talk about today, is just what to do whenever life happens, because let's be real, it happens. And that's what this podcast is all about, navigating the highs, the lows, all of life's thrills in a better fashion. That way, whenever something happens, it doesn't knock us down forever. We know what tools to use to get right back up and to keep coasting by. So let me see how I can invite my friend Hannah on here. And if y'all have any questions, please do put them in the chat. Give us some hearts if you like it. And it's so funny because every time I go to record a podcast or do anything in my office, that's whenever the kids go crazy. So just now, I fixed me a drink, and then I was like, all right, I'm leaving. London starts screaming, spitting out her pacifier. Lincoln's like, Ma, where are you going? Where are you going? So shout out to Daddy DePaul for holding down the fort while I chit-chat with Hannah for about 30 minutes or so to give you guys the tools that's necessary to help you coast through life whenever things happen, how to get right back up and overcome it all. So Hannah will be joining us very soon. So stay excited to just listen to her story, her insights, her journey. And I don't even want to say excited because I'm over the top. Like, I am so thrilled. Last night I couldn't sleep just because I was so eager for this conversation to happen, because a lot has changed since she and I met in college. And I'm excited to just see where she's at now, how she's navigating it all. So I'm so excited to chit chat. I hear my little crying in the background, but Daddy's got it. So I'm all yours for 30 minutes. How are you today?
I'm great, doing really well. I was just laughing hysterically when you said sometimes they try to stop us from greatness happening.
Yep, unintentional.
Yeah, definitely. How are you doing?
Awesome, doing good. I feel great. I went to the gym this morning. I read the Word, so feeling good. I'm excited to chit chat with you.
Definitely. Yeah, I haven't been able to see you since 2014, 15?
Yes, and I'm sure at that time I wasn't thinking about a husband, let alone children. And here we are. You have twins. I have 2 kids. We have amazing husbands. So that's just what I know from social media. So if you can yourself and just kind of catch me up since then.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I was sharing with you last night, it's just I had to leave our class abruptly early And that's where I had gotten to meet you for like a solid 2 weeks. And I was like, I love Caitlin. She's the real deal. But I had to leave it because I was undergoing my second round of cancer. And then I've been in remission ever since. I was acting, modeling. I still am. I still do that regularly. And then I found the love of my life, got married, and had some babies. I very unexpectedly went from a family of 2 to a family of 4, like that, but it was nice.
Wow, what a
God's plan.
Yes, it's so funny how his plan is so much bigger than what we can think or imagine, especially in those moments. You're like, man, I got a good husband, and then God's like, and here's 2 beautiful twins, like right after. How amazing!
Bam. Yep. Pretty much.
So most people that would share your story or, you know, your testimony, just hearing all the health issues that you have overcame, they would use that to kind of keep them down in the dumps, I guess you could say. Where how do you stay so optimistic and positive through it all?
Oh, goodness. Well, I could come in here and say, oh, well, I just braced through the trauma or the pain, but it's really Jesus. You just have to have a really close relationship with him because he's the only one who can get us through this life. Like, it's gonna be painful. Like, I just gave y'all, the people watching, a little scenario that sounded very fairy tale princess. You know, I'm acting, modeling, and then I meet the love of my life, and now we have babies. It sounds great, but life's hard. And actually, if I have time in this podcast, I want to tell you like the kind of nitty gritty stuff that, you know, does take place, to just let you know that it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but that God keeps us going in those places where we feel like we can't go on. We just can't, you know?
Yes.
So,
I'm excited to hear the nitty gritty because that's what all about, like letting it all out so your struggles can be somebody else's triumphs. They can learn from it because, you know, when you get on, you see everybody's highlight reel, you see that fairy tale that, and you think that's real when it's not. Just a background, whenever I met you, I was in a 5-year relationship with somebody that lived about an hour away. So going to LSU, I would always have him come visit me or I would go visit him, and I thought that was going to be my fairy tale marriage and romance, where God kept telling me to let that relationship go because it's toxic for me. But I was stuck. Like something would happen and I would be drawn back to that relationship. But whenever I heard God tell me to let it go and I made a decision to let it go, that's when God opened the door to my husband now. And a lot of people, they look at our marriage and relationship like, wow, I want that. But it took me letting go of that baggage and listening to God to get the amazing husband that I have now. So for you, like, on what did that journey look like for you? Just the nitty gritty to get to the marriage that you have today and the family that you have today.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I took notes because I'm long-winded. So I was like, I will take 3 hours instead of 30 minutes if I don't like refer to the page kind of thing. But yeah, so just in all my seasons, I try to look at the glass half full in life. And like you were saying, like, how do you stay so positive with all the things that happen and stuff? Because I actually, like, in 2017, I lost my eyesight completely. And I didn't know if I was getting it back. I was scheduled to go on a missions trip to India. And they were like, cancel your flight. Like, they would turn the lights on and off, Caitlin, and I couldn't see anything. And it hurt so bad. My eyes were bleeding. I was just going through trauma in my eyes and stuff. But anyway, so I've been through so much that, like, it's not even, I can't even comprehend everything and stuff. But like I said, I try to look at the glass half full. And I think something that really, like, jump-started this was whenever I was little, I think, like, 6th, 7th grade, my dad bought us these little, like, wrist rubber bands. And he's like, you want to do this challenge with me? And I'm one of those people where, like, I want to start something and I will freaking finish it, you know? And so he's like, let's do this challenge. Basically, it takes 40 days to change a habit. And he's like, I just want us to really be positive thinkers and not complain and this and that. And so he's like, every time that we complain, we have to switch wrists with our bands and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm already like a happy-go-lucky person and stuff. And then I found myself in the classroom getting so frustrated with kids who were like, you know, causing trouble, whatever. And I'm like, just changing it back and forth and stuff. And so then once you like can make it a whole day without changing the bands, which is really a success when you think about it. There's a lot we can complain about in life.
Oh yeah.
But then you have to go, I think, like somewhere around 12 to 14 days, and we did it. We did it. It took a long time. But that helped jumpstart just getting into that glass half full mind. And I say that to say that life's all about balance. So like, I don't want to paint this picture, oh, just be positive minded, look at the glass half full in every situation, because there's times that we can't. Okay, I'll give you an example in a little bit, but like for right now, I'll give you an example of how I do look at the glass half full. A big one was, and I already asked my husband if I could share this with him, but when we got married, a month later, he took off and left me, like packed up, left. Wow. I didn't hear from him. I didn't know where he was. It was very traumatic. Then I went to MD Anderson for cancer stuff. About a month or two later, he came to check on me because he does deep down care. He was just going through his own problems. Sure. And he came, and then we were doing the married life. Then we got pregnant right after. So like 3 months into marriage, like it's already been like boom, 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 boom. We got pregnant with twins and stuff. And then the girls were born premature. And 4 weeks of having them, he packed up and left us. And yeah, so yeah, like on social media, it looks so rainbows and sunshine, but it's not like that. And I don't want people to think it's like that, because I want to keep it real, you know. But here's how I looked at the glass half full, because I really had no choice but to be their support system. You know, it was just me, myself, and I with these two little infant babies and stuff. So like, these are the things that I literally was thanking God for in this season. I was like, I definitely cried. Like, I wasn't a superhero that was like, oh, this is a wonderful thing that's happening. I cried and was an emotional ball, you know, but I counted my blessings because I was able to get on food stamps. I had no financial security, but he left. And so for that reason, I was able to get on food stamps.
Gotcha.
I was able to start a business because I didn't know when he was coming back. My dad didn't know. My mom didn't know. She was helping me with the girls. We didn't know. And so I was like, okay, I gotta get my ducks in a row. I gotta start a business. And so I created a business plan all night because I was up feeding them anyway, you know, might as well utilize some time and stuff. Yeah. I was really thankful that he was gone to work on himself. I was like, if he is going to be gone, I don't need him to be worrying about these infants who are crying and it's chaotic, when he needs to work, you know, go through some healing processes himself and stuff. So that really encouraged me, that I was like, I'm going to hold down the fort while he goes and gets the healing that he needs, you know. Because we all need it from time to time, you know. I do too. Yeah. So I don't judge him for that and stuff. And I was able to live in peace during that time. That was huge. So yeah, my husband left, but it was peaceful, other than baby screaming, crying for milk. But so I was thankful for that and stuff. So we got through that hurdle. He did get healing, and he's been working so hard, and I commend him for it. I don't want to sit here and bash him or make y'all think like, oh, he's horrible, he left his wife and girls, you know, and stuff. You just don't know how you'll handle situations when you're faced with them and not prepared for them, you know? and stuff. So I give him all the grace and really just thankfulness that he did take that time to work, do the work and stuff. I'm proud of him. I really am. So yeah, that's something that. Oh, but okay, so this is where I'm long-winded. So I was going to continue with how, yes, it's good to look at the positivity. Here's an example of how you shouldn't sit there and look at the glass half full in every single situation. Like, don't apply it to everything because, okay, for example, he was for a time being verbally abusive.
Okay.
And I had to stop myself in the bathroom crying, trying to be positive. This thought came to me, but I'm so thankful he didn't hit me.
I see what you're saying.
You can't go there because you have to address what's right and wrong.
Sure.
And you can't allow the wrongs to just keep like downfalling.
Yeah.
And keep it on a positive level, or you'll end up in a pit. Like, bad. Seriously, and stuff. And so that's where I stopped myself. I'm like, okay, I can't be positive all the time. I got to address things as they come and just be real. So that's why I'm saying everything in life is a balance, even choosing positivity. So.
Wow. Those are two really good examples. And you kind of took the words right out of my mouth. Is balance. Now, true balance doesn't necessarily exist all the way, but we have to try to find balance for our lives. So I love that you use two sides of the spectrum with using the glass half empty or half full, because I'm one of those people where I'll look at a situation and I'm negative Nelly. Like, I automatically go to the glass being half empty. So hearing your side and your perspective and how you're naturally a glass is half full type of person, that did so much for me, especially personal example, because most people will look at that situation and be like, her husband left her, like just a whole list of terrible things that's wrong with the situation. But you said, what can I do as their mother, as the provider now for my family? What can I do? And because you focused on yourself, it allowed you to operate in grace as a wife, which is what most marriages need nowadays. There's so many marriages that are torn apart because we're only looking at the glass being half empty, what the other person is doing wrong, instead of self-reflection on what we can do and what we need to do better, while the other person is either healing themselves, seeking God, or doing what they have to do to fix them. Because when you come into marriage, it's you and it's your spouse, and you're coming together as one, and neither one of you are perfect. So we all have to do.
Yeah, you said it. It's really important to have, again, a balance of grace and also not allowing the grace to trample every wrongdoing. Because you could justify anything under, oh, but you need to give me grace, and stuff. So it's really crucial to be so in tune with God, to have that balance and stuff, just to be able to know I need to protect myself.
Absolutely.
And I also need to give this person grace, but I can't allow them to treat me the way that they are when they are, I
was listening to a sermon a few months ago, and I don't know how I have everything so handily available, but it had like a little speedometer like this, and this is kind of like your grace-o-meter, where you have grace over here, and I forgot what the other thing was on the other side. Truth, maybe. So you want to learn to work in the middle, to where you do operate out of grace, but not overly graceful to where the person's running over you. But then you have truth over here too, where you stand on the truth, but don't be stuck on the truth where you can't operate out of grace. And personally, I was on the other side. Okay, you're over here with grace, I'm over here with truth, where if this didn't match up with my truth, I extended you no grace. Okay. So I'm still learning to stay in the middle and operate out of truth and grace with all of my relationships. And I know a lot of people like yourself where they're very graceful, and it can be catastrophic in certain relationships where the other person is not as kind-hearted as you, so you do get trampled over. So I do think that's a huge point, is learning to operate out of truth and grace and try to find balance in doing so to protect everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I think a big thing too is just knowing your identity in Christ. Because if you experience any kind of, like for me, it was a lot of verbal abuse. I grew up so bold, so passionate about life, so confident in my own skin, who I was, and then like a year in marriage, and I'm like, I don't know, like, should I allow to be treated this way and this and that? And so I know we're totally changing the direction of what we planned on talking about with this podcast and stuff, but it's I think it just needs to be said for people who are maybe battling things where they're like, okay, where do I find that fine line?
Absolutely.
Jesus helps you find that fine line, but at all costs, you need to protect your well-being as well. Like if you're starting to feel insecure because of what someone else is saying, that's a red flag, you know, and take the steps that you can. And if you feel like you can't, then say, God, you got to fight for me.
And
know,
He will. And that's a huge factor, is finding your identity in Christ, because whether it's your marriage, family members, close friends you have, we're all going to be attacked someday or another by people that we love. As adults, learning how to navigate that is so difficult when you don't know your true identity and who Christ says you are. Because when people are saying things, when they're verbally abusing you and calling you out of your name, out of your character, or saying things about you, it's easy to let the enemy or doubt creep in, and then you start to believe what those people are saying, and then you're down this downward spiral of thoughts and things that aren't even who you are. But with every punch they throw, with every word that is spoken on you, you have to lean onto God's word and say, you know what you said is not true. I know who I am. So having confidence in who you are and who God says you are is so important.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And not only just confidence, but also just self-awareness too, of like all of the situations and stuff. It's really hard, especially we just overcame like the holiday season, and like I have my dad's side who's like, I get along with all of them, they're so precious, and then I have my mom's side who's Hispanic. So you know.
Oh yeah.
It's just there's lots of very opinionated, very aggressive, bold, passionate, it's a great thing, it really is, to be those things and stuff, but sometimes it can create a little bit more conflict than the easygoing types and stuff. But it's just also self-awareness of like, how can I best handle each situation for the other person and myself and stuff like that, so life's so complicated. And like I was telling you last night, it's we're gonna have those trials, it's just inevitable. It says it in God's word, just that don't be surprised when you face these trials and tribulations in life. But my favorite verse is, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And with him, like, that's the positivity that I'm talking about right there. In the end of the day, like, when all is said and done, he's overcome it all. Like, okay, so I hate to say this because I don't even want to speak into existence, but I might battle something really hard every day for the rest of my life. And yet, there's that peace in knowing, okay, God's in control. He's there at the finish line. He's gonna pick me up, and I'm gonna be forever with him. And that's like, it's just such a reassurance in this crazy life where it's chaotic, and I guess there's a lot of uncertainty in these times, especially with COVID. And we're not gonna get on that subject.
We'll be here for another hour if we do.
Oh yeah.
But I'm so happy to hear you say that Jesus being there at the finish line is what gives you hope to navigate it all. Just because that was a question that I had listening to your story about your eyesight being gone and you getting cancer and all of these things that life's throwing at you, but you still navigate it so joyfully. And here I am. Sometimes I can be very negative and look at my situation and struggle to find gratitude and struggle to be happy going through it. So I look at you and I'm like, man, where does that happiness come from? So it's amazing just to hear that it comes from the victory that God has already. Like, that's where you draw your peace and your joy from every single day, no matter what you're going through.
That's true. That is true. I never really thought about it like that, but yeah.
Wow.
Knowing that, like, the end of the story.
Yes.
Like, I'm one of those people, I hate surprises. I always know what's up, what's going on. And so, like, sometimes when I pick up a book to read, I'll read like the last 2-3 pages. Just make sure that the main character's still alive. And stuff. But that's how God gave us that story, you know, like in his Bible, and it's the truth. It's what we can hold on to. It's our firm foundation. It's like, woo, we know at the end of the day, it might be smooth sailing, rough sailing, all in between, but at the end of the day, we know the end of the story.
So how do you, like, let's utilize that in a real life example. So whenever you lost your eyesight in 2017, I think it was, and you were completely blind in both eyes, how do you look at that situation and not say, God took away my eyesight? Because there's plenty of people out there where they lose a loved one, something happens to their health, or something happens to their life, and it's like, God, you did this. And they look at that situation and equate it with God. So how did you navigate that season of your life in particular and not say, God, you did this to me, and that just creates bitterness and anger, but you did the complete
right.
Please walk me through that.
Well, I was really fortunate because I hear him so clearly. I knew that I was supposed to go to India. So like I lost my eyesight in like end of October, November, December. I got LASIK. I'm going to scare people. They're going to be like, I'm never getting LASIK. I got LASIK surgery done. It was PRK. It's more extensive. So they take off like more layers and stuff. And it went bad. It went really bad. And my eyes turned like bright red. They were bleeding and stuff. Anyway, so I was scheduled to go to India. The flight was going to leave on December 26th, I think, 27th. And all the way up, Caitlin, till December 25th. I went even on Christmas Eve day to New Orleans, and I went to see the lady, and she's like, no, it's still there, open, like it's just terrible. They were waiting to see if scarring would happen, so that it would, like, my eye would start to close and heal.
Okay,
is what they were looking for and stuff. So, anyways. But I had that assurance. Remember I told you that they were like, you need to cancel all your trip plans, like get your money back and stuff. I didn't. I kept packing. Like he was my boyfriend at the time, my husband. He helped me pack. He was putting eye drops. My mom was around the corner.
Wow.
They were taking such great care of me, and my dad as well. My Aunt Deborah, who I lost 2 years ago, she was one of my best friends. She was actually one of my bridesmaids, and so that was another really sad hurdle that I have no answers to. Her stepdad shot she and her twin sister and then himself. So I was very, very pregnant with my twins that I couldn't wait to share with her and stuff. And it was just, I still have no understanding of how that could happen. And it plagues me every day, but I can rejoice that she's going to be in heaven. I'm going to see her one day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they were all helping around the corner, and I just had that peace that the Lord spoke to my heart. You are supposed to go to India. And so I knew whether I'm seeing or not in India that I'm getting through to the other side, you know? And, but I had that belief. I remember telling the doctors at Turo, I was like, I really believe even if it's on Christmas Day, he's going to heal me. And sure enough, the day after Christmas, because of course she's not going to go see me open up the clinic on Christmas, but she and her daughter came in and she checked on it. She's like, oh, wow, I can't believe this, little Colombian lady. She's like, oh, you have scars. You can go. It's going to start healing. And oh my gosh, it was amazing. I didn't officially start seeing until like middle of my trip in India. And then I came back and I was able to start seeing like letters and stuff. And they were testing me. And So it was coming back slowly. It wasn't an instantaneous thing. I wore tape on my eyes in India, in fact, sometimes while I shared the gospel. It was quite a sight to see. I'm like, blue tape. God's so good. He's the light. He's the way and stuff. Anyways,
oh my
but I had that assurance. Now, having said that, if I didn't have that word from the Lord, because let's be honest, you and I, we're Christians, we're spiritual girls, we don't always hear a clear blue answer from the Lord. I mean, right? Like, I know I don't always. I'm like, what'd you say? You said anything? Please talk to me. Yeah, so in that case, which was the first part of this journey, I remember talking to my pastor, and I was like, I sent him a what do you call it, a video, but like I couldn't see it, and I was like, Pastor Lee, I've just never felt so close to the Lord. It's like he's all I see. I couldn't see anything around me. It took away all distractions.
Wow.
All distractions. He's all I could see. I was like imagining like spending time with him, like imagining heaven, imagining this, imagining that, and stuff. He was all I could see during that time. And because my eyes were in such pain, he was like all I was crying out to. I was talking to him day and night, you know. My husband was going to school, and like people were just living their lives. They were busy, and my world stopped. Mm-hmm. I mean, completely just stopped. And I was like, my relationship with him got so close, so strong. He was preparing me for that, you know, that mission trip and stuff. And so that in that moment, like when I didn't have that assurance yet, I was just so thankful that I had that, I don't know, just that such closeness with him, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Just hearing you say that, as a firm believer, everything happens for a reason. And granted, I don't want to say you had to have your eyesight taken away, but it's like that sense was taken away so you could look deeper at God in your life and who he is. And that's why I love to go on spiritual fast. My husband recently went on a fast, and he took away his favorite thing in the world other than me, food.
What?
I mean,
he took food?
Went on a Daniel fast. So if you know my husband, Daniel fast for him is basically you're not even eating because it's just all plant-based. So with him doing that, he started Friday and he just ended it last night. So it was about all weekend long fast, but just by removing the food, the Holy Spirit was able to pour in so much for him that he needed. Like he was talking to me, and I could just hear the closeness to God through his words, through his verbiage, everything that he was saying. So just like you're saying, the answer came from God to you about India because you were so close and intimate with God because your eyesight was gone. And that's really what a fast does. But on your level, it was an extreme fast. You know, your eyesight was taken away. It's so beautiful to hear just how close you were with God in that season of your life and how it's pretty much carried over into your life now where you'll navigate things and you hear God, you're still with him so closely.
Amen. I long to be closer to him. Now I feel like this is what we were originally going to talk about, balancing life with motherhood and, you know, the twins and careers and stuff. And it's hard. It's hard juggling everything. I feel like always there's something that doesn't get full focus, you know? And as a mother, I just like, I will not care about myself. I put on makeup today because of this. But otherwise, I'm like, I'm just totally in mama mode, like just wearing, you know, funky clothes and a bun on top of my head every day. And I just want to pour into the girls, utilize all my time for them. But then I'm like, okay, they are not my all in all. God's my all in all.
That's it.
This is a reminder, Hannah, reminder. But it's just so true that like we can get so busy and tied up with, you know, trying to be the best with career, with being a great mom, a great wife, which is all great things that the Lord gave to us. And he's like, here's your talents and multiply them, you know, and stuff. But at the same time, like he's the one who gives the talents. He's the one that we have to go back to, you know, run back to and stuff. And I'm preaching to myself. I'm not preaching to you. This is
I'm
for me.
girlfriend, I'm listening. It's whenever I wake up before my family and I spend time with him, it's whenever I do that in the morning that during the day I'm able to be mom and be wife and be business owner and try to get most of it done. And I look back and I'm like, God gave me the strength to do all of that. God gave me the details to focus on what needs to be focused on to that way I can accomplish anything or everything. And then also, it's that peace in knowing, like, it's okay if we didn't get the laundry or this done. Because, like you said, you poured into your kids, and that's what matters because they're the next generation. Like, you have to pour into them. It takes us doing that now at the beginning stages for their life to be fulfilled with everything that God wants it to be fulfilled with.
Oh, that's so good. That's so deep. I feel like we could spend a whole nother 30 minutes talking about a podcast of just the troubled times and how to raise your kids and navigate that. In this chaotic world, I just want to like cover their ears and eyes from all the harmful.
We need to talk about this at a later date. I was just telling my husband, like, Lincoln loves Disney, so I'll put on a new Disney movie with him. And I've heard the Christian conspiracies about Disney, okay? But I'm like, there's certain ones that I see clearly, but then there's also some where, like, he wants to watch Wreck-It Ralph. And I was like, okay. And I'm watching it with him. And it has Satan in the movie, but they call him Satan. And he has the horns. And I'm like, it's literally clear as day in our face. So I want to protect him from everything. But there's only can do as mothers. So that's why somebody told me when I was pregnant for Lincoln that when you become a mom, you stay at the foot of Jesus more than you ever have in your whole life. And when I tell you that is 100% true, 100% true.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because otherwise you're going to worry about every single thing every day. Oh, my gosh. And I could be a worrier for sure. Or just really like, so like I am positive minded, but I'm also a realist.
Yes.
And so it's just like, I'm like, all right, look, this is all the things that could happen and go wrong and stuff. And I just try to plan and avoid, all that and stuff. But I think we're running out of time. I don't want to get on another rabbit hole.
Like screaming her lungs out to Daddy right now. So is there anything that you want to close this out with? I have enjoyed talking to you so much.
Oh, me too. So much. We've got to catch up soon, like in person, I'm excited to hear about your journey and where God's leading you and stuff.
Thank you.
I think, I wrote my last note about my epiphany that I wanted to share with everyone. Although when you get an epiphany from God, it doesn't really like apply. Like people never get it like you get it, and stuff. But just I wanted to leave, everyone with this, that every choice that I make, and you can say this to yourself, every choice that I make affects someone around me. And I was in church yesterday and the pastor said, this blew me away. I didn't realize this. We make 35,000 choices a day, roughly.
Wow.
Like what?
Yeah.
And like some of them simple, like, do I reheat my coffee right now or not? And stuff, just like, that's not really going to affect too many people other than yourself and your tongue from getting burnt or something. But just like the choices of like, oh, am I gonna, go out there to run my errands right now or at 2 or like that has such a big impact on people, Like you think it's just you and maybe your kids and like how they're gonna function that day and stuff. No, it's you don't know who you're gonna run into, or who you wouldn't run into if you didn't go and stuff. And so it's just like it was this kind of epiphany moment where like, even if it's like a simple choice that you think is just so, and don't overanalyze it, that God doesn't want you to live in fear and anxiety, but give it all to him, like, God, when do you want me to go run my errands? Just simple stuff like that can make a world of difference. I ran into someone like 2 days ago and at a wedding, and I wasn't even, the girls were being chaotic, and I was like, I don't know if we should go, and we stayed just as long as the Lord led us to, and even though they were having a rough time, and then I ran into somebody who I never would have run into otherwise.
Wow.
And so it just little things like that. It's good to like, pray about everything. Nothing's too small for them.
That confirmation for something that I've been going through. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah, for talking to me on this podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to get it out there for our listeners just to navigate life with. And thank you for sharing all of your journeys with us so we can utilize every seed that you planted in this podcast to help us grow fruitful things in our lives. Thank you so much for your positivity and your joy and sharing with us where it comes from.
Amen. Comes from the Father. It's nothing I did. Nothing. I am just a vessel.
Yes, all the glory goes to him, and he is using you so much. So it was awesome to catch up, and I'm so excited to see you in person soon.
Oh, I know, me too. All right. Thank you for having me.
Everybody for listening to the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. Stay tuned. Take care. Bye.
Wow, how about that episode? I know you are motivated to kick your butt into gear and become a better version of yourself from this experience of the I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. The crazy title of this podcast comes from the original personal development book series. Each book will transform you even more than listening to this podcast. Each book takes a deeper dive into how you can better yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and even spiritually. Continue your journey of personal growth by being a part of the amazing personal growth book series that is written in a fun fiction way with in-depth journals concluding each chapter. What are you waiting for? Go order your book at www.kfoxworth.com and join the Facebook community in the private Facebook group named I Killed My Own Killer book series and podcast. You don't want to miss out on the full trifecta experience, including the books, the podcast, and the mastermind community in Facebook groups. Keep your personal growth burning desire on fire and be part of it all. It all starts here. So thanks for listening to the podcast and stick around for more great episodes to keep you growing in all areas of life. You are killing it.